What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today's video I'm going to be going through some underrated players for Supercoach in 2020. Now, these are blokes who definitely flew under the radar in 2019, having sensational years but seem to be forgotten about by their ownership percentages. So with no further ado, we're going to get straight into this. So the first bloke I really want to talk about is Gerald Lyons. Now, he was actually one of Brisbane's best players, in the midfield anyway. The bloke only had a 1% ownership, and he was actually the most expensive player at one point, with Lachie Neale sort of getting tagged a bit, Zorko sort of not really playing his best footy, and Lyons was just their man. Perhaps one of the pickups of the year from Supercoach last year, or this year rather. I just think he is a great asset. And, coming from Gold Coast to Brisbane, he's in a team that's actually winning games, and he's absolutely enhanced his footy. And if you want to get up there in the rankings of Supercoach, if he can have a sensational year and you game enough to put him in your side, you could really jump up in the rankings. And I do think he's a great option. I really rate him. And yeah, as far as going under the radar goes, he was one of those guys who just went missing in Supercoach, and blokes really seem to miss him. Now, another bloke I really want to talk about is Jack Billings. Now, Jack Billings only had 11% ownership, which is a little bit higher, but a lot of people gave him the flick, didn't like his name, his reputation. Obviously, a notorious burner man of 2018, we know that. But his year has completely changed, with 7 games over 100 and 2 of those games scoring over 140. This bloke is playing some great footy, and he played a lot of mid-time as well. I'm not sure how he goes in the midfield with all the new blokes St Kilda got in the trade period, but it's going to be intriguing. A player to definitely watch. You all know the forward line is going to be absolutely, really, really difficult to pick with all these midfielders just going straight to the midfield, like Boak, Dangerfield, Roland Marshall will have ruck status. We've got all these blokes who will not get the status. So if you're looking for a cheeky pod, I think Jack Billings is your guy. Now, the third bloke I'm going to talk about is Nick Newman. Now, he was actually D1 of 2019. He turned out to be a really good pick. He was lurking around that, you could sort of say, premium mid-pricer. I think he was about 396k over the off-season in 2019. He was a really good option, only in 7% of teams, and he was the most expensive defender at the end of this year. Really, really great option. If you took the gamble on him, chances are you absolutely skyrocketed in the rankings. He was an absolute superstar. I really like him. I thought he was a bit injury prone, but he's turned out to be, about as elite as the defenders get. And I really do like this bloke. Going to be talking about him in my defence video or go into more depth. But yeah, in terms of players that missed out on getting selected in Supercoach, he's definitely up there. And yeah, 7% just seems way too low for the quality of football he was playing. Our next person I'm going to be talking about is Adam Treloar. Now, obviously Adam Treloar was the leading disposal getter of 2019, and you're probably thinking, how is he underrated? Well, he was only in 21% of teams, and a lot of people will say, you know what, he's not really a Supercoach player, he butchers it a little bit, his disposal isn't flash. Well, that's not really the case. I mean, he was getting so many touches that just didn't matter. And he was scoring really great at one point. He was getting 140s every single week for a little bit there. And the back half of 2019, it was really, really hard watching him just be that pod, and, players that have him in their team just absolutely going up in the rankings because of it. So I think we need to be a little bit more conservative on these blokes with such high ceilings. I know there are other options, but yeah, I wrote off Treloar pretty quickly and kind of wish that I did pick him for someone else in the end. I mean, there was just some blokes that turned out to be pretty average picks in theory that I wish I could have gone back and changed. And yeah, definitely one to consider, and don't write him off in 2020 because yeah, he's going to be an absolute superstar. Now, the last bloke I'm going to talk about is Rickey Henderson. Now, straight away, blokes will be like, don't even worry about Henderson with Tom Mitchell coming back in the team, all this, all that. I understand, but he was probably Hawks' best player. Warple getting the best and fairest, which is really good, but Henderson, he was just averaging 110 every week. He wasn't the best player every week, but I reckon he was the most consistent player. Warple was playing some really good footy, but he'd have down games as well where Henderson was just a solid option all year round. If you could have him at the end of the year, if you could have him at sort of, M7 sort of area, M6 and M7, even M8, like he would just be a really, really great option. He was only 3% of teams, and he was actually really, really solid all year round. So yeah, I don't know. These are just some players that I really feel like we're underdone, and just because it's going to be really difficult to pick in 2020, especially in the forward line, just give you a little bit of an insight of some blokes to pick. Now, another honourable mention for this video I'm going to mention is Dan Houston, who just looks like an absolute jet in the back line in the future. Only 1% of teams, and he played 5 games scoring over 110, including a 3-vote performance against my boys in the Bombers. So yeah, definitely a player to watch in the future. But yeah, that's all I got for you in this video. Unfortunately, Supercoach still hasn't come out yet. It is incredibly frustrating. It's doing my head in. And just getting really impatient now, and I cannot wait to get started. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Uploading as soon as it comes out. I can't wait for Supercoach. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.